Thank you for allowing me to be here to share information on BCTC Workforce Solutions and workforce development at BCTC and through BCTC. I am Pam Hatcher and I'm the Dean of Workforce Development. I am responsible for all customized training, continuing education, apprenticeship programs and services, and one of our unique programs called the North American Racing Academy. So I'll dig into what that means and provide information on our services and programs, but I'm going to share my screen first, and we'll start with some general college information. Should be here. So BCTC, for those of you that don't know, we're one of 16 colleges in the Kentucky Community and Technical College system. We have 7 campus locations for BCTC alone. So we have 3 in Lexington, 1 in Winchester, Danville, Lawrenceburg, and Georgetown. And you can see by some of the stats what our tuition is. We're just over 10,000 for enrollment, which is up year over year, and we're leading our system in that enrollment, and then the credentials awarded. What I like to say from this slide is that, yes, we have many transfer programs. We have training also to get individuals right to work and specifically certificates through our academic programs that way. But we also have high enrollment in technical programs, with the highest enrollment being industrial maintenance, which is about 200 to 300 annually, and welding is about 150 to 200 annually. So even though we have associate degrees, diplomas, certificates in more than the 40 areas of study, we have workforce education, and we approach that from several different angles because we believe that human skills and technical skills need to travel together. So we approach that, again, in a few different ways, with the ultimate goal being that we want to ensure those individuals in the workforce are highly skilled and very competitive. We do that through exiting students from our academic and technical programs to go into the workforce and those skills that they're obtaining that way. But we also do that as one of the areas and one of Central Kentucky's largest provider of workforce education, and that's through customized training and the services that we can provide as a resource to business and industry. So we're helping companies in many ways, and one of those is through developing their talent pipeline, as well as exiting students from our programs. So the division that I referenced earlier that I'm responsible for is made up of all these areas, and it's called Workforce Solutions. So my team and I are going to interface with every size company to make sure that we are really in a consultative mode to understand what the workforce and economic development needs are in our region and for business and industry, and then put those programs together that meet that specific need. We can do that as one individual company. We can do that as a consortium or network of companies and several people to participate in programs. But customized training and development is the time that we're spending with you to understand what those needs are and putting that program together, not necessarily on an academic program and that schedule. It is going to meet the need of that business very specifically. So continuing education and licensure preparation, we do an enormous amount of exam prep for those jobs that are out there that require a license or a certification. And then we provide that continuing ed on the back end for those individuals with those jobs to keep that certification or license. Apprenticeship programs and services, I'll go into a little bit deeper in just a few minutes, but we have ramped up tremendously with our efforts around the services themselves because we've always provided the required technical instruction and developed apprenticeship programs with companies, but the additional services that we are providing now, I will highlight in just a little bit. So again, when we are working with a company, this slide is just to demonstrate the customization that truly takes place, because we want to make sure that we are understanding through a needs assessment, through all kinds of means to follow up to understand what that need is and what that company is trying to accomplish. It may be one thing on the initial conversation, and then as we learn more, it may be another, or it may include more than just the initial area. The training that is accomplished and meeting those and exceeding those customer needs through customized training can be done in person, and we have taken every measure, and especially as we have helped companies pivot through the pandemic in such uncertain times, we not only can still continue to do the in-person training, meeting all the guidelines and requirements, but we have developed and moved completely online and virtual learning, as well as hybrid, and increase those efforts tremendously. So if it is in person, that can be done anywhere. It can be done at your company and a location there. The training can take place at one of our campuses, which I mentioned earlier. It could be at a general location somewhere else in the community. It's whatever is going to meet the need best for that company. We also provide that training in an environment that can be for credit and have credit bearing toward degrees, a certification, a certificate, any of the things that are aligned, because what we've done as a system is take all of our customized training and any topic, and it is aligned to a program area, and that can be either for that credit for the program itself, or if so, and awarded at that time, or if an individual decides to go to BCTC at a later date, then obviously all that credit is awarded at that time as well. We also do an enormous amount of non-credit training, and that can be done in any kind of customized fashion as well. You'll see on the screen what we are referring to as trains and available funding, because as a system, when we were formed, in legislation, there is what is called KCTCS trains. And that is a funding opportunity that will, as we work with you and that small business or as your organization, we will work not only with our own funding mechanisms to offset and to help you offset the cost of the training or the plans that we're putting together with you, but we engage partners, just as Rolando said, for the Kentucky Career Center, for the individuals who, out of the portion the company is responsible for, can offset that cost additionally as well. So I'm happy to send follow-up information around KCTCS trains and meet with individuals. And you'll see my contact information at the end of the presentation, where please feel free to reach out anytime, or I can also send, if you'll give me an email, I'll send this presentation as well. So our highest and most requested, we'll call it, training area is industrial maintenance technology and the technical skills that go with that. Just a small percentage less than that is the most requested, and that's leadership. And that can be entry-level supervisory, that can be executive management and executive leadership in all kinds of environments, and training around that. You'll see information technology is next. And then we do an enormous amount of training around essential skills and professional skills. And I'll give you some examples of how we tap into that and some of those topics that are available to you as well. Already referenced this, but continuing education and professional licensure, the main categories of that obviously are electrical, HVAC, and plumbing. That is done on a very regular calendar. We do a large amount of recertification for welding, and those individuals are already working out in industry that need to recertify. We do that for every size company, and then anything from the preparation to gain the license for the first time. We have many of those classes as well. When I referenced some of the changes and some of the additional services that we're providing around apprenticeship, this is what I mean. So again, the required technical instruction, and that is the education piece, because we've always done that as an institution, because we've worked with companies after they've gotten the job or the apprenticeship program registered. Then we come in to deliver the technical instruction, and that is a requirement based on what job is registered with the Department of Labor and how they have arranged and set up the apprenticeship program. So we're backing that up, and we're in on the very front end of that because we're providing the services to employers to make sure that we're also working with them to, again, ascertain what job they're wanting to apprentice, work with the Department of Labor to get that registered. If the job doesn't exist, then we will go through with that company to make sure that we are requiring or that we're developing the competencies with them and putting that together to get it registered. We can serve as the sponsor to make sure that we're recruiting and mentoring, because there's a huge mentoring and on-the-job component that's a requirement as well, and that we're training those individuals at the companies who are mentors, and we do that training as well as the continuation of all the coaching that goes along with that. Tracking is enormous. As we know, if there is a Department of Labor registered apprenticeship, there's lots of tracking and evaluating. We also take on that role and those services with and for that employer. Workforce testing and assessment. This is just a small sampling of the last two bullets are the items that we do on a very frequent registered calendar with the state departments of both the Department of Insurance and then the Kentucky Board of Cosmetology. So that is in partnership and in contract with those individuals to provide that workforce testing for those types of jobs. But we also, on an individual customized basis, provide assessments as part of the entire package, and we can deliver that to have a better fit on the front end and make sure that those positions you are looking to fill and how we are helping you fill your pipeline, that we develop a test if it doesn't exist, or that we work with you on what's existing tests and do that assessment up front to have a better fit, and then only train for those gaps and put the training plan together with you that way. I referenced essential skills and the coursework that we have and that we work with companies. This is a very, very, very popular offering, and you'll see on the next slide what the specific topics are. But you can see here that these are very short-term modules and can be in person. They can be delivered, stand and deliver, or it can be virtual or a combination thereof. But with over 80 topics available, it's going to run the gamut of anything from communication skills to leadership skills and problem solving. I'll just go to the next slide to show you that with it being such an interactive and such a largely requested area of development for all organizations, we've outlined it this way to show you a sampling of what that means and what, if we went into each of these areas, what it means topic-wise to be able to provide the courseware for essential skills. So again, those are very short modules with 4 hours in length and very interactive and can be delivered in a flexible mode. So as I referenced at the beginning, we have really worked with companies still in the way I would say that we always have, but through this pandemic and through the unknown, we have really provided different services to help discuss and talk with those companies through all of this and help them pivot to see what it's going to look like either during these times and the development of their employees that still need to take place, or the services on how to switch a different mode of training and what that means to have a virtual or complete online package versus a stand and deliver. So we have done that in a few different ways, which we're very proud of, not only to make the shift so quickly and to be able to do that because we're structured that way, to engage different partners. And one of those new partners is through a FlexTrain LMS. And this online learning we have bundled for employees, very conveniently packaged the learning opportunities to understand. You can take a bunch, I'll call it, at once, and complete those in a 3 to 4 hour time slot, or you can do them one at a time, with each course really taking anywhere from 5-10 minutes to 30 minutes to complete. So these that you see when we list popular and relevant topics, these are the most popular, again, and that we have sold the most. And these are all 100% online, go at your own pace, and you can see the price for that. When we say that they may be eligible for Trains funding, again, we work with you to see from the criteria of our own KCTCS funding, which is Trains, and then put the project together to see if any costs can be offset that way. We developed a completely online training for Healthy at Work, and obviously this training is very specific to COVID-19 and those risk factors, and making sure that you have somebody at your organization who has that as a responsibility, and they have the knowledge and understanding of what that means. And so this course, as you can see, is online, and that is very convenient to be able to access it. It's very cost effective. Obviously, it's accessible anytime, and it's very engaging. So there may be some special pricing. Again, we can talk through that on an individual basis, but this is a wonderful resource to make sure that either someone new coming to your organization or someone you would like to upskill in this area has this opportunity to do so. What I'll say here is we've talked mostly about workforce development, how that impacts your organization, and what that means by way of training and customized training, and also those students who exit our programs and go to work at your companies, what that really means in that kind of picture. We can obviously post your job openings. We can help fill, positions that you have at your company. That's another resource. Our job boards obviously go to our current students and the graduates. There's ways, if you'd like to utilize that as a service, that is free of charge. We have plenty of internships and co-op opportunities for students that we love to engage on a renewed and a new and a constant basis with that. Some people think of us for facility usage. If there's a meeting or something taking place, clearly that's not happening a lot right now, but know that that is a resource. And we've expanded our workforce management area for what we're calling contract services organization. And that is really very heavily in our biosciences and expanding the services that we are providing through lab technicians and facilities and the equipment that we have. So if you are in that industry or know of somebody who is in need of additional help or resources around that, we also are able to deliver that. Rolando is so wonderful about making sure that our partnership is highlighted, and I always do the same thing, because we have so many projects together that are for those individuals to make sure that they're being upskilled or they're being trained, and that we partner in ways to make sure companies are taken care of, and that they know of, and that they have the resources to help their bottom line and to help them. And we do that by, again, if there's a customized training that takes place, then we can partner on that. We will engage others within our arena to make sure all the partners are at the table, and to make sure that the funding package for your company is being leveraged, because what our KCTCS Trains funding covers, someone else does not, or the funding from the Bluegrass ad and the Workforce Innovation Boards And so we package that together as a team to make sure that you know what resources are available and that you can take the benefit of the best way that you can for your company and for that package. I'll pause there and just leave my contact information here for a little bit. I'm happy to field all and any questions, but certainly if you will email me and let me know if you would love this presentation or to have that, or to follow up with any other questions you think of, please have my information. But I also want to recognize that Jeannie Devers on my team is also on the call and on the meeting. And if she has anything to add or something by way of a topic she'd like to put in the chat, please do that and we can cover that as well if there's something else that she would like to highlight. But we'll see if there's any questions. I can take this off, I think, my screen now. And stop sharing.
Thank you, Pam. And thank you for all that wonderful information you just provided. Jeannie wrote, we have a new grant. I don't know if you want to maybe touch on that really quick or just provide some information. You definitely have the time to do so. So if you want to provide that information, you sure can.
Okay, thank you, Jeannie. Yes, for that reminder. We were recently awarded a Department of Labor grant that is going to be short-term, one-year certificate trainings for individuals. And the focus is on youth for that. And so it is Job Corps scholars eligible youth. And that training is going to revolve around technical training, problem solving. It could be nurse aid. There's a whole host of short-term certificates that these individuals will be exiting with. So it's a wonderful opportunity to not only for the individuals to take the training. Those could be individuals from high school or coming out of high school. They could be within Rolando's area. They could be anyone that, you know, definitely make sure that they take advantage of the short-term credential that they can gain from this. And it's basically, obviously the training is of no cost to those individuals. So that's what the grant is covering. And it'll be another great way for companies to help fill their pipeline and hopefully some of those skill gaps as well. I didn't mention one certificate that, that is part of that grant. It is also one that we have moved completely online, and that's called Enhanced Operator Certificate. And that certificate is for entry level operators basically in any industry, because it's going to give the knowledge of problem solving, critical thinking, the lean, there's some Six Sigma. So it really touches on, you know, from a safety standpoint to an operator standpoint, and can move that into any industry that way. So that's for the grant too. And Jeannie's also reminded me that we do have, because of how we've been working with companies, what she means by 75% trains for new companies. If we have what we've recently instituted, because the structure of the funding for KCTCS trains in general is that the company cost is 50%. So the cost of the project is offset by 50%. But in this situation, if we have never worked with you as a new company or not worked with you in the last 3 years, for example, we could offset that cost even more. So that's what she means by 75%. So thank you for those reminders, Jeannie, for sure.